Hi, everyone. I'm just going to give it a few more minutes. We're still waiting for a couple new board nominees to show up. If you have a chance to look at the minutes from last year, the link is in the chat. And I'm also going to screen share a few photographs of some events that have happened in the Khyber in the last year, just for about the next, I'll give it like 3 minutes and then we'll get started. Okay, is it all right if we get started? It would be great to have the camera off for this section of the meeting until we have a sort of open discussion format, just so that there is no lag in the video quality. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming to make the space in your life to come to this AGM. Though we are all not together physically, the Khyber and many of its members live and work on the unceded territory and lands of the Mi'kmaq people. Unceded means unsurrendered, and as settlers use it now, it is stolen. As residents of this land, we are beholden to the Peace and Friendship Treaty of 1752, which was negotiated after decades of consultation by Mi'kmaq elders with their communities. This doctrine sets up an operating framework for nation-to-nation coexistence between the Mi'kmaq and, at the time, the British Crown. The Peace and Friendship Treaty is still in effect, and it is a pathway that we can follow to honor and respect the lives and rights of Indigenous peoples who continue to hold these lands in their stewardship and care. The government has not been honoring these treaties. We cannot rely on them to uphold the integrity of what was imagined and agreed upon. So I asked settlers in the space to spend some time thinking about what it means to say and practice, we are all treaty people. Please see this link for more info on this treaty. Sorry, I don't have that actually ready right this second, but I will put it in there. Oh, great, thank you, Hannah. Okay. There's also some more information that Hannah and Bria will share later. So additionally, if you are not familiar with the current pursuit of the Mi'kmaq Nation to pursue their court upheld rights to pursue a moderate livelihood with fisheries in Nova Scotia, please become informed. So thank you for coming. My name is Jessica Ross. I use pronouns she, her. I'm the current chair of the Khyber board and your meeting facilitator tonight. So the AGM stands as an annual update for our membership on the operations and finances of the organization, as well as a place to hear thoughts and concerns and also welcome new board members and sadly say goodbye to old ones. We'll also be excitedly featuring an update from the 1588 Barrington Street Preservation Society about their efforts to restore and reimagine the former home of the Khyber Center for the Arts. So just to go over some Zoom etiquette, please keep your cameras off for now. There will be an open forum discussion and we would love to hear from you. And at that time, please feel free to unmute yourself, turn your camera on. We'd love to see you. So this meeting is being recorded. As I've already asked you to have your camera off, still just know that if you want to keep it off and stay out of the recording. Yeah, so we will be voting on some motions tonight that will go into our institutional memory in the form of minutes. So Alex, our secretary, is recording the minutes for tonight. Thank you, Alex. The first motion that we have to pass tonight is the approval of an agenda. So I'm going to test out a feature that is called the polling feature after I show you the agenda, which I'm going to do right now. So this is what we're going to go over tonight. Uh-oh, okay, it's going to be okay. I have to go back to slide number 1. Okay, hope everyone can see that. So tonight, call to order, that's what we just did. Approval of the agenda, approval of the minutes. If you haven't had a chance, there's a link in the chat to look at the minutes from our AGM in 2019, and we all have to vote to approve those minutes. There'll be a director's report, a board report, treasurer report. We'll approve, make a motion to approve the financial statements for last year, have nominations to the board, and then a presentation, and then some open discussion before we adjourn for the night. Yeah, so the first motion, like I said, was to move to approve the agenda. So I'm going to try this out. I'm going to launch polling. I hope this works. Excuse me. So please let me know if you can see this and just click on it. Thank you very much. Ooh. Right, the question is everyone who is present allowed to vote as members? So yes, thank you, Hannah. That's Hannah's answer, so oh gosh, I'm sorry. Okay, so end polling. Alex, I'll be able to get you these numbers after because it will save the polls, so just as you know, but 60% have voted. 11, great. We're at 73%. So please, yeah, go for it and let's get this done. We're at 80%. Okay.
We have enough votes.
Okay, ending poll. Great. We approved that. So we next, sorry, I got off from my script. So please let the record show that we have voted to approve the minutes and our agenda for tonight. Alex here from the Khyber code. Oh, right, sorry. Next is the minutes from last year. So I'm hoping that people have had a chance to look over those minutes. And I'm going to launch the second poll, which again is mandatory. I know it seems like a strange formality. Launch polling. So yeah, the minutes just go over all the information that was shared and the votes like we're doing right now as they were approved or not approved in the final meeting. You can vote on the minutes if they appear okay to you.
We have enough votes.
Okay, great. It might be the case that you don't have, if you can't see an option to poll, it might be that your version of Zoom is not an updated version that allows for you to see the polling. Just as a heads up, yeah. You can always go to the Zoom website and look for updates as well, just not right now, but just as an aside. Okay, so let the record show that we have voted to approve the 2019 minutes for our agenda tonight. So now let's hear from Bria and Hannah, our incredible co-directors, in a short video that they have prepared, which will stand as the director's report.
Welcome. Hello. We're speaking to you a week before you will see this, and we are filming this from the location of our center on Hall Street, downtown Halifax, which in all reality is Kjipuktuk. Yes, we are on the unceded, unsurrendered land of the Mi'kmaq, Mi'kmahi, and there's a lot that we can and should be doing right now. One resource that I want to point you in the direction of right now, which is on our website, is a document that shares ways that you can step up and support Mi'kmaq frontline workers and fishers right now. So there are very many ways that you can help, and there's this doc is really amazing at illustrating that. So a link to that doc is on our website.
Yeah, and so my name is Bria Miller. I am one of the co-directors of the Khyber. Also, when I'm not working, I like to make a lot of art and draw, kind of also make music, all kinds of things.
And I'm Hannah Guinan, and I am also a co-director. It's amazing. I get to work alongside Bria and Callan Sack and a bunch of really incredible artists. I'm also an artist and a musician and a person who makes things. So, I guess we'll get into it. I made a programming report for last year. This is our AGM where we are speaking to our last fiscal year, which ended at the end of March of 2020. And so I put together a programming report that shares amazing programming that artists have done from out and around our center last year, from April 2019 to March 2020. So you can find that on the AGM page.
Yeah, and in that last year, we've had 49 members in 2019 to 2020. And also thank you to our members for your support. Folks should also really visit our website and become members, also because our membership has gone down since the pandemic. Become a Khyber member.
Updates on where we've been at kind of in like the last 6-ish months. Maybe it's longer than 6 months now, 7 months. I don't know, since March. Since hell opened up and consumed us. So me and Bria and Callan, have been working mostly from home. during this time. Over the past few months, we've started to come in to the Khyber more often and have been able to have work parties together and co-work. Actually together sharing space, which is very nice. In planning ahead, we've just been trying to think creatively, responsibly, while prioritizing safety in this pandemic, and hoping that there will be more opportunities to activate in a public in-person capacity at some point soon. Our priority has really been to support artists and communities and each other. I've been working on applying to as many subsidies and grants that we are eligible for during this time, as like a fundraising and like our previously common revenue streams have been like impossible or difficult to access.
I'll share some protocols that we've taken in our physical space, like what working for Khyber has been like and what it's looked like during the pandemic. So protocols in our physical space include that all of our visitors sign in to like a sign-in sheet that's at our entrance. We also have sanitation stations set up like at both entrances as well, and then in the washrooms there's sanitation too. We've been also like cleaning and also just making sure that we have really good hygiene practices, that high touch areas get sanitized. That was a little squirt of cleaner from Hannah. We've also been shifting our programming to studio based at the center without public gallery hours. We've had more events online also since March, which has looked like the creation of toolkits for workshops, virtual parties like Light It Up, and soon project launches and open studios. This has been an extremely hard time, but also so exciting to create a co-directorship in the midst of all the chaos the pandemic has brought. I feel very lucky.
Me too. So like programming stuff that's been happening. I've been working really closely with Lily Alawaitosi Echo Davis and their Cream residency relocating, which started in August and will be running through to December or second weekish of January. Near the end of November and through December. It's been a very busy time with that project, but near the end of November through December, there will be more opportunities for the public to engage in the work that's been happening and more sharing about what's happening. So keep your eye out for that. Other things that I've been working on, so we've supported the Black Lit project, which is a really incredible project, which you should check out on Instagram. I've been meeting really regularly with Jenny Shee and Shane Song about their upcoming project, Will You Write Me a Poem, which will announce more information about that early in December.
And also at the end of this past March, I created a zine making toolkit, and Tanisi Paran and Mae created an altar building guide toolkit in May as well, which you can find online, either on our Instagram or on our website. I chose this format for online programming so that the public can access the workshops at any time. Also just, knowing it's really difficult to make like a scheduled event, especially with the pandemic making time bleed together. We also have more upcoming virtual workshops that are in the works. So stay tuned for a body mapping workshop launch facilitated by myself December, sorry. In July and August, I also helped found and organize the Taking Black Cottagen markets, which are still continuing. In August and October, we held Light It Up virtual dance parties with DJ Fadzwa and DJ Shaishaya, and also DJ VJ myself. Yeah, and with the October party raising $300 for the 1752 Frontline in support of Mi'kmaq fishers, which Khyber also donated $500 to Sebeganegede to support the fishers. In November, we co-presented the 2020 Creative Nova Scotia Award Gala pre-show with Heist, also curated by myself, and also stay tuned for the launch of the IBPOC mental health resource that me and Hannah have been working on to be able to, just increase accessibility for mental health resources for IBPOC folks in Nova Scotia. So next we're gonna do some thank yous and gratitudes. First, we want to thank coworkers Callan, Alex, Joy, Amanda, Nyla, Megan, and Kate.
And also sweet coworkers Bachmala, Tino, Heather, Mariah, Andy, Nathan, and Kelsey, and Bria.
We want to thank our board members that are continuing on our board: Jess, Lex, Mallory, Alex, Anna, and Carmel.
And also want to thank the very amazing board members who are moving on from being on the Khyber's board, which is Vi, Sean, and Alyssa. Yeah.
I've also put together an extensive thank you doc for 2019-2020 that you can check out on the AGM page on our website. We have a lot of thank yous because we've just worked with so many incredible people.
Thank everybody so much for being here. And a reminder again to check out the doc for that's linked to on our website for how you can show up and support Mi'kmaq frontline workers and fishers.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was an incredible update. So it's kind of probably obvious to you all that we have an incredible crew of people making things happen for the Khyber. I'm going to launch now onto agenda number 5, which is the board report, which I'm going to read out. So we have an incredible crew of people. We really want to thank Bria and Hannah. I want to emphasize their brilliance and commitment to seeing the mandate of the Khyber through in such a thoughtful and skilled way. I just wanted to mention, if you want to read along to this write-up, you can read it. It's being put in the chat. So thank you so much. There have been a number of incredible staff contributions to Khyber operations, so I just want to start there. This is a bit redundant, but definitely worth so many thank yous. Thank you, Callan, Alex, Joy, Amanda, Nyla, Megan, Kate, Veronica, Bachmala, Tino, Heather, Mariah, Andy, Nathan, Kelsey, Ayoka. We really couldn't do what we do without you, and we wouldn't want to. So we also, I'm speaking for myself personally, we have an amazing board of humans who show up to give input and volunteer time and make some of the background and public events happen. I just wanted to go over our board structure just to give you a little bit of information about how we work. So we operate with a chair and a vice chair who facilitate meetings and coordinate certain efforts between staff and board and act as a liaison. A secretary who is our board memory keeper and organizer. We are blessed to have an incredible, wise and sweet treasurer, Mallory Ross, right beside me, my sister. More from her soon. Also on that note, thank you, Natalie, who's our bookkeeper, who keeps many things flowing smoothly within our organization. We have other important roles such as programming rep, care rep, fundraising and members rep, outreach and community events rep, space and accessibility rep, Please see the document that Hannah has just dropped in the chat to see more details about each of those roles and what's entailed. It's been a really challenging year that has required so many swift responses and adaptations to unprecedented changes. So again, wow, thank you, Bria and Hannah, for weathering this on all of our behalves. We are excited to do what we can to support staff to reimagine the important, wonderful, and collaborative ways that we can connect creatively over distance. The co-director's report has already given you some insight into what that looks like for us in 2020. The Khyber is working to enable different arms of our capacity to do important community care work, to lend our resources to groups, events, and spaces, and as well as reimagine how the physical space of the Khyber can be adapted to be an artist's tool rather than a public space. We're so proud of the co-directors for their continuous holding of the crucial intersection between community-based work and the artistic sector. They manage this through their community involvement, as well as cross-sectoral collaboration with community leaders, nonprofits, and a variety of service providers in different disciplines with different skill sets. Hannah, Bria, Callan, and other mentioned staff do such an amazing job at leading us in our work to be an accessible entry point into art spaces and be a resource for those looking and building resources in making an arts practice. So I've been using the word co-directors quite a bit. It's worth a mention that the Khyber very importantly transitioned this year from being an organization set up with an executive director and supporting staff to a co-directorship where the job that Hannah had held alone for many years became 2 jobs. After Bria came on as care coordinator, she already had stepped into a leadership role within the Khyber. And now it's official, such incredible news, 2 lead staff people taking on the execution of Khyber programming, community work, marketing, administration. We are so lucky. I want to say a board farewell to Vi Jones, Anna Taylor, Alyssa Robichaud, and Sean Panambalam. It's been awesome to work with you. We're going to miss you and are excited to welcome new people onto the board tonight. This year, we also signed a 5-year lease with NASCAD at a rate that allows us to do some long-term funding planning. That is partially probably thwarted by COVID, but all the same, really nice to know that we have some stability in our physical location after many years of rental space turmoil. We look forward to inviting you back into the space to engage in critical community arts work and ideas, as well as dancing together when it is safe to do so. Okay. I'm going to stop talking now and pass the proverbial mic over to Mallory, who's going to give a treasurer's report. This will be Mallory's last AGM as treasurer. Awesome human. Take it away, Mallory. Do you want to launch right into the screen share?
Show my slide.
Okay, so we're going to do a little screen share and Mallory's going to talk over what we're looking at here. No need to share computer sound. Hopefully that works for everybody. You can just click, I think, to go through the slides.
Okay. So I have a quick PowerPoint. It's Google Slides now. Just about the fiscal financial year the Khyber had. So as Hannah mentioned in the co-director report, we're talking about financials from April 2019 to March 2020. So keep in mind these financials are not reflecting COVID. Maybe they're just the last 2 weeks of this financial report was during the pandemic. So this is beforehand. So overall, the Khyber had a pretty strong financial year in 2019-2020. You can see there in the last row that our net income was $3,600. And that's an increase from last year. So it's about an 18% increase. So You can also see that we had a 20% increase in our revenue and our expenses. And so for a nonprofit, that's really awesome because it means we have increased capacity to do what we do. So this is just a little visual to show you the growth that the Khyber has seen in the last 5 years. The lines in the graph, which I notice are quite faded right now, just show the trend. And in 2015 and 2016, 2020, we were at a deficit, and then it changed, and we've had a surplus the last 3 years, which is awesome. And these bars here really just show our increased capacity to offer amazing programming. And so to get a little more specific, I'm just showing here our different revenue streams and the trends that we've seen with those. So we had a decrease in our private revenue and our earned revenue this year. We had a really good donation year in 2018, 2019. But we did see decreases there, but that is sort of a result of the Khyber changing its the type of events that it's holding as well. So we've been able to offer a lot more free programming and pay what you can programming because of our good financial standing. But when we look at our government revenue streams, we've seen some pretty substantial increases. So our federal revenue funding increased by 10% this year, from about 65,000 to 72,000. And then the last two revenue streams are provincial and municipal. And we saw huge increases there. The provincial one is because of this big grant that we got, it was a 2-year grant in 2018, basically 2018 to 2020. And so that's that huge jump there. And we got a lot more provincial money this year too, which is awesome. And then we also had a $2,000 increase from our municipal funding from the Arts Board. So the last thing is our expenses. So you can see we're spending a lot more on programming. We're spending a lot more on marketing and communications. But what's really crazy is that we didn't spend much more on facilities operations. So it just kind of shows that we are doing so much more with the funding we're getting, but we're keeping our operational expenses pretty low, which is really ideal for a nonprofit. So well done to our staff for managing all of this, because it's really, really hard. Yeah, so that's sort of our expense overview. And I forgot to put a thank you slide, but thank you.
Awesome. Okay. That's that. I haven't really been paying attention to the chat. So please don't use that as a way to tell me something specific. Maybe just unmute yourself if there's anything you need to share urgently. The next piece of the agenda is number 7, approval of financial statements for the fiscal year ending in March 31st, 2020. So it's time for another poll. Launch poll. So this is, do you approve or oppose the 2020 financials? So that would actually be the 2019 to 2020 financials as presented by Mallory, ending March 31st, 2020. Love to get it up to as close to 80%, which we've had. So a couple more people. This is fun. Nothing's at stake. Okay. 83%. Thank you so much. All right, going to stop the polling there. gonna get rid of that. The next piece, so that's kind of through most of the agenda. Our next piece goes to board nominations. So I haven't double checked to make sure that all folks are here, but the following people who've come to stand for nomination to join the board of the Khyber are as follows. And so I'll ask you to maybe turn your video on when I call your name, or just if you know you're here and you're standing for nomination, turn your video on and I'll pin you. And we're gonna get everybody to say a couple words. And then we'll move on to actually voting again. I'm sorry, it's kind of, I don't know, it's not ideal. It would be so nice to be in person, and but we'll just do some poll voting on the nominations after we hear intros. And then we'll move on to the Barrington Street Preservation Society. So there's some exciting folks who want to join this board. Tanisi Poran, Carly Flowenwhite, ML, Margaret Donahoe, and Lili Oluwatoyosi. Thank you so much for being up, for bringing your brilliance, magic, experience, volunteer time to the Khyber. I've got most folks pinned. Who am I missing? Who wants to start? If someone wants to just kind of unmute themselves and go for it. How about
I can start.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tanisi.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Tanisi Poran. I use she and her pronouns. I am super excited to be here and have the opportunity to be part of the Khyber board. A little bit about me. My background's in facilitation, specifically around anti-oppression and anti-racism work, but I've also done quite a bit of consent and transformative justice and mediation work as well. So the CARE rep was most interesting to me, and topics that are kind of exciting me in the world of care and of art are using care and abolition politics together and thinking about how we interact with each other in a liberated and just world, and the role of the artist in abolition and care politics. And I'm really just looking forward to getting to know everyone. And yeah, that's all for now. Thanks.
Hi, I can go next. Thanks, Tanisi. I'm just gonna go next because I have 2 young kids that are 6 and 3, and they're in meltdown mode. So I kind of want to get this out and then maybe zoom out if I need to. I'm ML, they, them, and I put in an application with 2 positions because I feel like I have this heart-mind divide right now. My heart is like care, and then my mind is like, I can do treasury. Yeah, that's all. And then in terms of like the background or contributions or experience that I can bring to that, I on the care front, I've been in training with generous somatics since 2013. That's a tradition of somatic work that really politicizes healing. Long story short. And then in terms of the treasury role, I used to work not with love, totally out of necessity for PricewaterhouseCoopers and auditing firms. So yeah, that's all I'll say. Thanks.
Awesome. Okay, Carly, you're up.
Yeah, hey, my name's Carly. I use they, them pronouns. I also selected to fundraising and membership and space and accessibility. To be honest, I don't have much background in either of those things. I think I'm more excited about being involved in a board, which I haven't done before, and also in community. I'm new to art making, and I think it's really important to uplift other artists and meet other artists. So I think, you know, I'm curious, and I think I'm good at listening, and yeah, I would be really excited to be a active board member and participant with the Khyber.
Awesome. Lily, do you want to go for it?
Sure. Hi, my name is Lily Oluwatoyasi. I am relatively new to Nova Scotia. I'm 2 years in here. Who I am in the world is queer, trans, POC, disabled artist, program designer, social innovator. I have some pretty solid background in board being a board member at organizations like Kjipuktuk, Quebec Public Interest Group, and Center for Gender Advocacy while I lived in Montreal. Yeah, I'm keen to just contribute like wherever there's space. But my skill set, I bring like pretty strong skill set in the area of the care rep. Potentially I could also do space accessibility rep or programming rep, but I wouldn't want to do outreach or fundraising or treasury because those things are too hard for me. So yeah, that's a bit about me. And I go by they, them.
Thank you. Hi. Margaret, you want to?
Yeah, my name's Margaret. I practice, gosh, it's late. I've had a long day teaching. My art practice is largely like performance and film. And sometimes those can be really isolating, or they're sort of solo things. And so I'm really excited about getting involved in an arts community locally, which is why I'm very excited about the Khyber and maybe potentially being on the board. I have said that I am open to, or the positions that I'm most interested in and feel like I'd be best suited for are treasurer, outreach, and accessibility. I have some skills in all of those and some experience in all of them, but I think that all of them would also be a learning curve for me. My pronouns are she, her, and I think that's a little intro about me.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so we're gonna launch into the voting part. I didn't mention this, but there is room for 5 board members on the board. We have kind of gone through a pretty big turnover this year, and Mallory's the current treasurer and is wanting to stay on as a transition period, and then we'll be leaving the board. So we're excited to welcome, we have the capacity to welcome all folks who are standing for nomination tonight. So I'm going to launch another poll, and this will just be a way that we'll go through the formality of increasing our board. Sorry it's so utilitarian, but just wait for a couple more people. No rush. Doing pretty good for time. 15 dates for last meeting. I think you're allowed to vote for yourself. Yeah. Thanks so much for sharing what you're hoping to bring. Just for a bit of insight into how it works, if you don't have experience with boards, as a membership, we decide on who gets to join the board, and then once we get to our first board meeting, after this meeting, we will sort of do a shuffle, and people will fall into some new roles, and maybe people doing certain roles will move to other roles. Like, for example, I'm leaving the chair position. And Carmel is taking over starting in 2021. Yeah, it's a pretty cool process. We have reached enough polling, so I'm just going to cancel that. Thank you so much. Next up, we have a short presentation from Emily. Yeah, welcome to the board. Sorry, I should stop and say amazing, everybody's on board, and thank you so much for being willing to participate in this. Yeah, sorry.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Feel free to unmute and jubilate for a moment as Jake and Emily prepare themselves for the next part. Yay! I'm excited to get to a point where I'm hoping we can all maybe turn our cameras on even for a second and go to gallery view at the end, and so it can, yeah, even it's nice, yeah, nice to see people. I know it's strange, strange times. Thank you. Oh, everybody's so awesome. Thank you for making the space to come to this meeting. Are you ready, Jake and Emily?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Or just maybe, yeah, okay, great. So yeah, I'm going to pin you, just one second.
For sure.
Get that. And are you, both you and Emily, going to speak some?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
So Jake's gonna start us off, and then I'll finish us out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Awesome. So hi, folks. My name is Jake Ivany. I'm the Vice President of the Turret Art Space, previously known as the 1588 Barrington Building Preservation Society. We've recently changed our name, and it's been an adjustment for everyone, so no worries.
Sorry, excuse me, Jake. It's
Yeah,
Ayoka.
sorry.
I love you
Hi.
dearly, but you speak so quickly, so I'm going to make you go back to the very beginning.
Of course. Yeah. Sorry about that. So hi, my name is Jake Ivany. I'm the Vice President of the Turret Art Space Society. We were previously known as the 1588 Barrington Building Preservation Society. Yeah, so a number of years ago, we were founded by a group of representatives from the Khyber Art Society, Friends of the Khyber, and Neptune Theatre, along with a broad range of artists and community professionals who are dedicated to restoring the Khyber building. The Turret Art Space is a nonprofit society. In late 2018, after years of planning and advocating, the organization purchased the building from the city of Halifax, and we've been working on fundraising to make the renovation dream a reality. Recently, as part of that fundraising, we created a short video giving some context to the project and kind of showing our goals. So I've sent that link to Jess, and I think we can play it now.
Let's start with the big dream.
We need an accessible place where lots of different kinds of people can get together because they like art, music, theater, each other, experiments, film, dance, joy, learning, and being recognized and understood.
There are lots of temporary and precarious spaces in Halifax doing just this. So we know it's possible. We've felt it. But here's the thing. We need a space that lasts for a long time and that is stable enough to let the amazing arts and community groups focus on art and community, because the roof over their heads is taken care of.
We've been working on making this big dream a reality for 6 years because we believe that the Turret Art Space, whether you know it as the Khyber Building, the Turret Club, or 1588 Barrington Street, can be the flexible, weird, and wonderful art space we need.
This building has captured our hearts.
This building is steeped
in queer history.
This building is where so many local artists cut their teeth and came into their own.
This building has beautiful heritage architecture.
This building has already shown us how important a gathering place is for our communities.
This building could be a reality if we work together.
The turret art space will be physically accessible. We need a space where no one is shut out.
The turret art space will be economically accessible. We need space that artists and nonprofits can afford for the long haul.
The turret art space will be culturally accessible. We need a space where people feel valued and included.
So, how are we going to get there?
The total cost of renovations is $3.3 million.
We've applied for $1.5 million from the feds through a Canada Cultural Spaces grant.
$1 million from the province.
And the city of Halifax has already committed $225,000.
A couple things have happened since we own the building. Taxes, insurance, repairs, and time, which means our portion to raise is about $500,000.
In early March, we got our first big donation, but then an unprecedented global pandemic hit, and it really took the wind out of our sails.
Conventional fundraising wisdom says, go after your big fish first, and then to community fundraising at the very end to get to the finish line.
But here's the thing, if we don't come to the community with an ask for support now, there might not be a finish line for us to cross.
We're asking you because you're part of our community.
We're asking you because you're part of our history and our future.
We're asking you because we want to see this through, and we need your help to get there.
Let's build this space together.
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 We were so excited to be able to work with local artists to create all the art for that video as well. It was a super cool project. So just to quickly go over some of the highlights of what the building will be when the renovations are complete. The space will be 13,000 square feet and will include a fully accessible main entrance through the glassed-in atrium, gender-neutral and barrier-free washrooms on 3 out of the 4 floors, space for 2 or 3 commercial operations that will help offset the rental cost of the rest of the spaces, a large programming space capable of seating 75 people that can be rented by organizations or artists. There'll be office and creation space for artists and nonprofit or charitable organizations. There'll be a common meeting room for reservation by tenants or other groups. There'll be a large rooftop deck, and there'll be an elevator to access all 4 floors. In addition to all of these incredible features, we plan on making every effort to make the space as culturally accessible as possible, reducing barriers for all to use the space. As a side note as well, we just launched a new website too that goes over the plan and how to support the project. So you can check that out at turretartspace.ca, and I'll hand it over to Emily.
Hello. So I'm going to talk about some of the ongoing projects that we have on the go. So we've covered already the ongoing fundraising, but I wanted to talk about some of the programming initiatives that we're working on as well. So this nocturne, we were pleased to host the NASCAD Queer Collective as one of the sites for their exhibition, Resituating Interruptions. It was motivating and uplifting to connect with young queer and trans artists who are exploring connections to queer history, including to our building and the legacy of the Turret Club and the Gay Alliance for Equality. We are working towards a collaboration with iMove you can hear my son Tando in the background as well. We are currently exploring the possibility of the Turret Art Space partnering with iMove in their work on the memorial project led by Solomon Nagler, Sobez Benjamin, and Agre Agawata. This project is using murals, films, and music to honor Lance Perry's legacy. We're in conversation about using the turret exterior for either projection, window installation, or banners as one of the multiple venues throughout the city that will be part of this project. And this project is slated to be presented in winter 2021. Another initiative that we're working towards is an artist challenge. So we're working to create an artist challenge and community fundraiser project that will reuse the documentation from Halifax Scavenger Society's 2006 exhibition in the Khyber. Participating artists will be given Polaroid photos of objects that were part of a show titled Objects, Histories, Mythologies, in which exhibitors unearthed and redistributed strange junk they found in the Khyber building basement. So we will be using the documentation from this show as the source material for a whole new group of works and inviting artists to make weird and wonderful artworks as a fundraiser for the Turret Art Space Capital campaign. And we're aiming to have the call for participation out as soon as possible with an exhibition in the Neptune lobby during the run of their production Dickens Christmas Carol in December 2020. And that's all for me in terms of additional programming initiatives that we're taking on while we continue to work on the fundraising for the capital costs to renovate the turret. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody, okay, so we haven't done an official adjournment, but this is the part where we can have a public discussion. Maybe we could start if there are any questions from the audience, from the group about the Turret Art Space. I'm so sorry for misnaming the project, and I will probably not do that again. Yeah, and then otherwise, like, I encourage you all to go into gallery view, and if you want to take off your cameras, put on your cameras, or say something, we can kind of open up the floor. Does anybody have anything? I have it on gallery view, so if anyone would like to say something and doesn't feel comfortable jumping in, you can raise your hand and I'll name you first. Could also be any questions from incoming board member, new board members to other board members. Any programming questions?
Yeah, hi, it's Carly. I'm curious about, you said, I guess I'm curious about the timeline of like when the board meeting will be and kind of like when, like will we have like an introduction kind of thing? Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Yeah, we'll definitely be in touch very soon about that kind of stuff for sure. Yeah, we'll have a meeting, one more meeting before the end of the year. We have monthly board meetings. Okay.
I got a question. What's the arts grant landscape looking like for 2021?
We haven't gotten any notice of changes. There's been definitely new programs that are opening up that are specific to the realities right now of the pandemic. Like there's this new one with this deadline at the beginning of December that's through Nova Scotia Community Culture and Heritage, and it's for people who are operating clients or who have received, I think, a project grant in the past 2 years, I think. Yeah, with that one, it's a new grant that didn't exist where you can, request money for certain areas where, you may have lost revenues or operation expenses that aren't already being covered by the different government subsidies and other grants that have come out during the pandemic. Other than these like temporary new funding situations, we haven't received any notice or to a change of the existing like operational programs that we apply to. Also, hi, Sean. Hi, Sean. So nice to see you.
I have a question. Is it okay if I let it go? It's like, hello? Can you hear me?
Go for it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of, the last few minutes of that presentation, I had to go deal with something, but I just saw that video and Emily started talking and I didn't hear the end of it. Was there like an ask there, or was that just like a promo thing that you wanted to share, or?
I can speak to that.
Yeah.
So the reason that we presented tonight is because we have a long-standing relationship between the two organizations. So the Khyber was actually one of the founding members of what now exists as our organization. And for many years, one of the Khyber board members also sat on our board. And then I think about 18 months ago, folks decided that it was like, that wasn't where they wanted to spend like monthly energy, but that we still wanted to find ways to connect and keep each other informed. And so this presentation was an effort to inform the membership and the new board and the outgoing board and all involved about what our activities are and what we've been working on. It's not specifically an ask to fund our project at this time, more so that we're wanted to like raise awareness that this is the work that we're doing at this time, and that like we want to keep lines of communication open because like one of our tenants, like, or one of our kind of philosophies about this project is to make it with the organizations who will be there in mind. And so we just want to kind of keep the conversation open in hopes that this is a space that that the Khyber can be one of the tenants in our building when it's done. And I like hearing that you folks signed a 5-year lease. I'm like, yay! I don't have like a sort of reservation about what that means for our project. I'm just happy that the Khyber will be secure in its like leasing situation right now. And we're still working ahead on making the space always with the Khyber in mind as one of our potential, organizations that could be part of our organization as it grows.
Thank you. I think I have a lot to learn in terms of the history of like Tourette versus Khyber and versus, like, I don't know. So I think my uncertainty is coming from that too. So it's just learning a bit more about history. Thank you.
I also had a question around that, or more of a clarification, Emily, and Hannah and all, because I think it was also, I was also curious in the presentation about the communication of our relationship as potential tenants. But because I have the background working with the Khyber I assume it's still like standing, or my understanding is that we are still potential future tenants for this wonderful dream space that will hopefully come into fruition at some point, preferably before we lose our wonderful security at NASCAD, which is also so ephemeral and strange as an institution. So that is maybe sort of both a question and also me voicing my understanding in the past as a exiting board member.
Totally. So I can speak to that again, just from the perspective of our PR, which is that we didn't want to like make Khyber feel like they have to be in the space, because there's so many layers of unknowns between now and when we open. So we wanted to kind of keep things a lot more open-ended in our promo video. But the space is here for you. If the Khyber wants a space in our building, you are our #1 dream tenant, dream organization, dream partner forever. If there are ways that we like want to officialize that relationship more, put that in writing in some type of agreement, that's totally possible from our end. But know that our goal is to be a space for you and not to force you to be a space in our building if that's not what works for you. So that's kind of where we're at.
Thanks for articulating that clarification. And again, I was asking the question partially from a like, I think I know the background, but I know some people who might be just stepping in and not knowing any background might not. So thank you for all of the questions and all of the answers, everyone.
Great. Yeah, certainly us signing a 5-year lease is not excluding, the relationship with the turret space. Even the whole certainty of the building we're in and whether or not NASCAD will retain ownership of it and how that will affect our lease is a big question mark. So even the 5-year lease that we've signed, both parties can break it. We can break it and they can break it under certain conditions. Anybody have anything else to say or ask more broadly or still specifically?
Anybody feeling excited about anything?
Anybody feeling excited about anything?
I am. Well, I think I didn't mention this, but, and Hannah, I don't know if you've heard anything, but when we applied for our federal funding last year, we got confirmation that we were going to get $68,000 for 2021 also. Is that right, Hannah?
Yes. Yeah, we have confirmed Canada Council funding for the next few years.
Yeah, so that I think that's worth mentioning. That's all, but yeah, they said they would give it to us. So we'll see what happens.
I always really, really appreciate your financial presentations, Mallory. And I just want to say that because I don't, even though there was like gifts this year, it was still very engaging. A financial form can be so dry, and you articulated in such a fun, engageable way.
Thanks. I actually tried to recycle last year's emojis that Carmel contributed, but my PowerPoint kept crashing. And so from the emojis, like it was too much. They couldn't be moved.
Like a lack of emojis. Too much data.
Yeah, like I couldn't even recover my PowerPoint. I had to use Google Slides for the first time because the emojis are so powerful.
Awesome. Okay, so it's 8:16. I'm not sure, I can't really gauge the crowd very well through this interface, but let's formally adjourn.
Can I say one more thing?
Great. Sorry. Anybody want to say final things? Because we can still keep chatting. But yes, let me pin you, Anna. I'm really.
You don't have to pin me. I can be in the gallery. I'm good.
It's for the sake of the video, the recording. Go for it.
I just want to thank both Hannah and Bria, and also like the incredible board. I cried through like most of this meeting because I love you all so much. And yeah, you've turned the Khyber into a space that I could never have dreamed of in like all my wildest imaginations, and like all of the many complicated ways that the Halifax art scene has both held and failed to hold me and so many people, and you have just like transformed over so many years and the last 2 years into something so fucking magical and brilliant, and I'm just so grateful, and you're both so amazing, and we are so lucky to have you guys. And also like the board is so amazing, and it's going to be so spectacular, and I'm so excited for everyone new who's arriving. Yeah, I'm so excited, and if there's any time like you need a volunteer, I am still here, and I love you all, and I want to stay involved as much as I can. Thank you so much. And Jess, you did great. Everyone did great.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Jess has been doing an amazing job.
Yeah, we have a great, I'm gonna just for a second pin all the board members, just because I'm kind of curating this for the final recording. So I'm gonna just, I don't know, maybe it's just her. So we've got Lux and Alex, who I can't pin mysteriously, and Carmel. Sean is here, although no longer currently a board member, amazing former board member. Anyway, I'm actually kind of flailing at this because I can't pin everybody, but it doesn't really matter. So thanks so much for coming. I'm gonna kind of move for a formal adjournment there. All in favor of formally adjourning and feeling free to carry on in conversation. Just, there's no poll, just raise your hand and say aye. Awesome. Okay, we did a Zoom AGM. Thank you so much, Ayoka and Mae, for being with us today and for doing this incredible work. And for, yeah, thank you so much. And everybody else, thanks for coming out. Feel free to unmute yourself and just chat now. I might even cancel the recording. I think I'm gonna stop the recording. Yeah.